Well, let me ask you this. My favorite picture star was Ramon Navarro.
Me too, if you're all talking about men. And I'm so, when I think of what that poor darling man who was so good, I mean, he was so kind, and he used to take me for dinner sometimes, and we'd go here and there. And I think he asked me to marry him, as a matter of fact, but I was just starting in the movies, and I didn't. You see, I was a home girl, and to a certain extent, I mean, and he was had a lot of brothers, and had a very, another dear brother. He had a lot of wonderful people. He came from a very nice family, and I think his father was something very quite important.
He was a dentist
A
in
dentist.
Durango, Mexico.
And so he didn't just come from nowhere. I mean, he had a background. He had his dear father, and he took a great liking to me. Apparently, he took me out for dinner, and I think he proposed at the very end. But what happened was, I remember I was kidding and said something about, I gave him kind of a kidding answer because I really did like him. If I had been going to marry anybody at that time, it would have been him, I think. But I just didn't want to get married because I was getting started in my movie career, and this was about one of the first pictures I'd made, and I was doing very well, so I didn't want to give it up, you see. And of course, if I'd married him, it wouldn't have been fair to say, well, yes, dear, but goodbye, I'm doing the movies. So I felt I couldn't do that.
That was the Flying Fleet that you started
Flying
opposite
Fleet,
him.
and we had a wonderful time working together because we both liked each other, and so we got along just fine. And if I had been going to marry anybody, it would have been him.
Where would you go? What sort of things would you do together? Is there anything
we
that...
swam. We go swimming together, and we do also. I mean, kind of different things. And the theater, we love the theater. See, we both love the theater, so you can find us usually sitting, looking at the movies. But as far as he was very normal, and I'm telling you, when I heard what happened to that marvelous man, I was almost sick for a couple of days. I mean, I wasn't really actually sick, but I felt so terrible to think of how kind and good he played the piano for people. He fed them. He was a wonderful man because he was so good and so kind and such a good man and so believing. See, he brings these men into his home, feeds them. At least this is what I read. Feeds them and all that, and I don't want to say too much. I don't want them coming after me. So I'm not going to say any more, but that was one wonderful man I felt. And he had taken them in to play the piano and do things, and that's tough to take. I mean, I felt so terrible the next day when I read what had happened to him. That well, for a couple of days, I mean, I just felt horrible because he had been so wonderful and so good to me. And I thought of that beloved man not hurting anybody, bringing people in to be nice and so on. And that's what he got from them. You know what I mean? It's terrible.
Did you stay in contact with him over the years?
Don't say anything about that, please. I don't want them coming after me.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Did you stay in contact with Ramon in years later?
Well, no, because you see, he lived sort of up in a different place from where I lived, and I mean, we had not. I think he really cared for me, and I think if I had been willing to get married or something, I mean, he might have been, I think, very interested in it, but. I wanted to get in the movies, and I didn't want to be married when I got in the movies. Maybe after I was in them for a long while or something, but I knew I was going to need everything I had for the movies if I'm going to go in them. And so a lot of people don't. They go in whether they can do it or not, but I wanted to give everything I had to the movies at the time. And he was very, very, he took me to dinner, and I would sit right next to him in the car like this, No, nothing. I mean, he was nothing. He was very clean and very beautifully dressed, and I mean, he was a very, very nice man to go out with, I'll tell you that. And so your girlfriend was right when she said he was a lovely person, and she didn't believe it. You see, when people have it all, they're liable to have people that are jealous, so they want to say this or that or the other, see. And this man, as far as I knew, was a doll. He was a darling. I went out with him, we danced together, and I believe, and he'd always give me a kiss before he left. I mean, we'd be at, the same party or something, and he'd always come up and put a kiss right there before he left. And to this day, of course, he's not with us anymore, but to this day, I can remember that whenever he left, because he usually would leave before I did. I like to stay, but whenever he left, he came up and gave me a kiss right here on the forehead. Or if he went to Europe and he came back and he saw me, he'd come right up and give me a kiss on the forehead. He always
How
did
pleasant.
that. Oh yes, I just thought the world of him. I thought he was a dear.
What did you think of his singing voice? You know, he had gone to Europe to
Help
try
us
grand
sing.
opera there as he went on the tour.
Oh, is that right? Is that? I didn't know that. That's very cool. Because he was a wonderful actor, and he got along with people. I always remember whenever he'd go on a trip and he'd come back, he'd always come up to me and he'd kiss me right in the forehead, right there. Excuse me, Barry, you didn't put your eye out. But anyway, he always did that. He'd come up to let me know that he knew I was there, you know, and he'd come up. You see, I was given a picture that he was going to be to star in, because I was just starting, but I was given the lead. And he, I think, may have had a little something to do with that, because I think he was kind of fond of me. And I thought the world of him, you know, but I didn't want to be somebody that would be bothering him all the time or something. But he was, I didn't have to worry about that, because he'd invite me out to dinner and things like that. And I think he asked me once to marry him, but I'm not sure of that, so we better not use it. But the thing, he was very shy in a sense. I mean, you would think a man like that with the whole world thinking he's great, you know, or most of them would, oh, hello, how are you? And then, but he wasn't like that at all. He was very, very, almost timid sometimes. Because I know I used to go out with him now and then, and he would be, if people clapped too much when he came in, he'd get kind of nervous, you know.
Really?
Oh,
A shy fellow.
Yeah, he was kind of a shy man, but I liked that in him. I mean, there was so many, you know, that loved to put themselves, that when you got a man that was really great, who he was, and you know, every picture he made almost was a success, I think, because he just was so handsome and he was such a good actor. And I think he loved the work too, and liked the work. But I do think now I'm not going to let you print it. I think I remember saying, oh, so I had a very funny little answer that I gave him. I can't think of it right now. I wish I could. Wait a minute, it hits me. I think I said to him, oh yes, on and off Thursday. You know, when he'd say, will you marry me? Oh yes, sure, on and off Thursday, which of course just went right down the drain, you know. But no, if I'd been going to want to marry anybody, I think I would have wanted to marry him. In the first place, he had the same religion I did. He was Roman Catholic, I think, and he was, and in the second, he was a good man. You know what I mean? Very good. And I remember thinking that he did. I think he did ask me. That's right. And I said, oh, I might. I don't know. Off Thursday, I was just one of these girls that. I mean, you just like to take a ring by the neck once in a while, probably. But I had little answers for things, you know, and stuff. But anyway, I got along very well. I must say that. I had 7 years at Metro, and they kept me for the whole 7 years. And I think if I had wanted to stay, they would have had to let me stay. But I met the man that I was crazy about and married him in 2 weeks, and we were maritally bound.